I'm live. I'm not exactly sure where this is going to go, but this is a topic that's been coming into my mind more and more recently to share. Like, typically, I don't share everything, obviously, and especially when it's like kind of weird, I tend to keep it to myself because oftentimes I'm afraid of what other people will think, but that's a theme that's coming up for me and that's really being challenged right now, and it's being challenged for a lot of people. And I'm going to explain a little bit why I think that is. So this weekend has brought up like a bunch of shadow aspect stuff for the collective, like crazy, like the whole Wayfair thing, Ghislaine Maxwell, everything. I don't know. If you've been down that hole and there's more people going down that hole, you know what's there. A lot of shadow. And it's coming to surface more and more people are seeing it for what it is. And, in order to get rid of anything, it has to be seen first. And that is part of energy ascension. And what I mean by that really is just that if your vibration is going to rise or ascend, and what that simply means is your vibration is like your emotional output. Like, you'll know that if you're vibrating at a lower frequency, you're more frustrated, you're more angry, like you're feeling really contracting emotions. And then the higher your frequency is, the more you're in acceptance, joy, and gratitude, the more expansive you feel. You can feel it in your body. And especially with lower vibrations, like you literally feel like you want to hide, or you're depressed or anxious and stuff like that. So things are really getting topsy-turvy for people, which is good because that is when we change. And if you've seen me talk before a little bit about this, you'll know that I meditate nearly every day with Mother Earth. It sounds a little strange, but like every morning I go into the cave of Gaia, and I meditate with her. And I've developed a really strong relationship with the Earth Mother, with Gaia, and she insists now that she's Nova Gaia all the time. She's always like, sometimes I'll have problems where I'm anxious and worried and whatever, and then I'll be like, hey, Mother Earth, like, can you help me with this? And if I'm worried about really 3D problems, like typical material stuff, like I'm anxious or whatever, she'll show up to me in her 3D version, and you can see the difference, because she's looks a little bit more broken, like kind of like dirt. This sounds really weird if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but and then I know that I have a 3D problem, and that's not what we're in anymore. And so she's just like, it's irrelevant. It's not working like that. And so Nova Gaia, New Earth. I know this all sounds super spiritual and new agey, but I mean, look at what's happening around us. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and Nova Gaia is already here, and you can be on that frequency. You can be on that frequency band, because right now, and this is what David Icke talks a little bit. I haven't read his books. I've heard some of his talks, that the visible light spectrum that we see, how there's like all these lights and light rays and stuff that our eyes just don't pick up. That little box is the matrix, basically, if that makes sense. That they kind of put this little cap on what we experience, which is why we only see so much. That once we kind of don't have those veils anymore, which are breaking down right now, we start to see new stuff. And that's what I want to share about, because it sounds really weird. And I was keeping it to myself because I was like, this is just totally a me thing, and I'm just going to experience it and it's going to be fine. But the more that I've experienced it, the more my guides have been telling me, like, You experience it so that you can talk about it. You don't just experience it to experience it. Like eventually you can do something with it. So what's been happening to me and what's been happening to some other people that I've seen, some channelers, stuff like that, is seeing new colors. Sounds so weird. And the best way that I can describe it, and perhaps if I describe it like this, you'll be like, oh yeah, I experienced the same thing. Because at first I heard seeing new colors was like, not like a symptom, but kind of a sign that you're shifting more into Nova Gaia, just because it's new energy, new frequency. But it didn't make sense to me, because I was like, how do I see new color? Like, that doesn't make sense, because I'd never done it before. And the way that I experience it is, I'll just be looking. It doesn't matter what's happening. Typically, this happens when I'm more relaxed. It happens when I'm watching ASMR. Weird. Also, I just admitted sometimes I watch ASMR. But I get really relaxed. And then it's like out of the periphery of my eye, I'll see like, ooh, color. And the color doesn't look like, like a paint color. It looks more like Aurora Borealis color, like of the Northern Lights. And that's the best way I can describe it, because it's kind of like holographic. Like I've seen purple, a lot of purple and a lot of blue, green, red, orange, yellow, like light, basically. And sometimes the blue, like they'll all have undertones of other colors that makes them kind of holographic. And again, they kind of move around like the Northern Lights. So if you've seen anything like that in your peripheral vision, as in like you're looking this way and then you see something flash here and it's a color, and then you look and then it's gone, that's what I'm talking about. And I think it happens a lot more than people realize, because most of the time we'll like experience that and then just like go about our day. But it's been happening way too much where I'm like, that's a blue, that's purple, that's orange, that's red. I'm like, why am I seeing these colors? Because it doesn't, like, it's just a flash and then it's gone. It doesn't bother me. It's not like it's in my vision, like I can't see. It's like just a little and then it's gone. And I was reading something, some kind of channeling thing, just about the energy updates that have been going on in Nova Gaia and blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't tell you exactly what this was, because I read a lot of those. And what the article said was something along the lines of like, if you're seeing these new colors, go into the colors and see what the messages are there, because we are multi-dimensional beings, all of us, and 5D is a couple more dimensions. So when you see things, they have more depth to them. So those colors are frequencies. So you can kind of like think of that color and notice and acknowledge that you saw that color, and then think, okay, what does this color mean? And then your next gut instinct is actually what it means. Like, you shouldn't discount what you think, and you shouldn't discount what comes to you right away, even though that's like normal and totally a thing. Like, you think, oh no, that's not real. But as an example, and this kind of is why I'm talking about this now, I saw a flash of like a blue turquoise color. Oh, my cat is trying to get my attention. Like a turquoisey blue holographic Aurora Borealis type energy. Actually, if you've ever tried DMT, it's like the colors that you see during that. And I was like, okay, I remembered the article. I was like, okay, what is here? Like, what is this color about? What's this frequency, basically? And like I said, it was kind of like this color, but like holographic with a little bit of yellow, and I don't know, it's weird, but it was definitely blue. Definitely a sort of blue. And I leaned into it. I was like, okay, this is how you lean in, you just like acknowledge it and you go, And if I ever say leaning in, it just literally means, oh yeah, that. And then you go, huh? And then something comes, and then you go, and then something more comes. So what I was getting was truth. And that right now, truth is really coming to the forefront. And I mean, it could be truth on a big scale. Great. Would love that. We love truth. But what I saw it more as, I wonder if the liver is cleaning out something. Possible. Yeah. A lot of, like, our bodies are, you know, really purging right now. I find that I'm way more tired than usual. But what I found with the color was that it was about personal truth as well, and that it was tied to the collective truth. But really what it boils down to is each individual person aligning with their truth as much as possible. Like, of course, it's not possible all day. Like, most of us still have day jobs and we still gotta, like, fit in some kind of box. But the more that you can authentically, fully 100% be yourself in some container, maybe it's just your journal, maybe it's when you paint you feel like yourself, or maybe it's watching stuff, doing videos, talking, being involved, making posts, something that is just so fully, sorry, I'm talking too fast, something that is just so fully you. And that's the emphasis right now, is to find out what those things are if you don't know what they are, and see where it takes you. Because right now, also, just with this new energy coming in, like, things are working out when they come from your heart. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, if it's coming from your heart and it feels like, you know, the right next step, even if it feels totally unrelated, do it. You know, see where it takes you. Like, you know, especially right now, so many people are being pushed to step into their next role, to do the next thing with their life, to speak up, speak out, whatever. And, you know, that's kind of all we got is our authentic selves. And the more that we can embody that, and the more that we can bring it into what we do when we interact with people, when we make decisions, when we think of what we want our future to hold. And this was a really big one too. What's about the future is, we have this truth and we want to live from our hearts with love. Okay, great. Now, what does that actually look like in the future? How are you going to act towards your neighbor? What are you, like, if everything is based on peace and, you know, you see some litter on the ground, are you going to pick it up and then just put it in the garbage and be like, you know, that happens? Or, you know, are you going to see litter and be like, this is stupid. People should clean up. Like, you know what? Like, if we're living peacefully and we love our neighbors, then we can just clean up for them. And we'll just be like, you know what? I got some time today. Let's do this. It's things like that, and how you can just come to your core and start doing the things that allow you to unfold, basically. And that was what was in that color. And I thought that was cool because I got that whole download of just the personal truth being a reflection of the bigger truth. And the more that each of us can reside in our personal truth and honor ourselves and our beliefs and not do what other people want us to do, or, you know, think or care what other people think of what we're doing, and just do what makes us happy, do what makes us light up, you know, the more that happens on a grand scale. It sounds so silly that all you need to do is do it yourself, and then that changes the bigger picture, but it's so true. It has to happen here first. And that was the message that came through, was starting here. And then, you know, as truth comes out and as it comes out around you, don't deny it either. And don't deny the truth in yourself, because that's all we're here to do, is express ourselves fully and authentically, because we're each all so different. We each all have, like, our own special skills and our own special way, our own being that should be fully expressed. So yeah, that's what I got from that color. So that was a lot. But I want to know if anybody else is getting these random flashes. I have seen some other people. I think I saw some videos. I think Elizabeth April, she does a lot of channeling. I think she was mentioning it as well. I know my boyfriend was reading a Joe Dispenza book, and he mentioned something about new colors. So I think it's pretty common, but if you experience it, I would love to hear how that feels for you. And I would encourage you to, if you see it, just to think about it a little bit and lean into it and be like, okay, what does this mean? And then just be open and allow it to come through, because that's what energy upgrades are all about. It's just about trusting what's coming in, aligning with the frequency of expansion, and just, doing that peacefully as you can. And I know that right now there's so much fear. It's so hard to be peaceful, but it is the most beneficial thing you can do. It's the best thing that you can do with your time. It's just to find your peace. Yeah, that's all I have. Talk to you guys later. Mwah.